Hi, I'm Cindy Wienia, graduate student at TWU, and this is my memory box project for the art of storytelling. I have several things in my basket here because I like to keep things. I'm something of a pack rat. But today I'm just going to show you a few. I'm going to start with this lanyard that I got at the National Barbie Doll Collectors Convention that I went to with my two sisters and my daughter. I know it sounds kind of silly that grown women are going to a Barbie doll collectors convention, but it's really fun. Barbie doll collectors are very nice people, they're creative, they're fun to be with, and you learn a lot about the history of Barbie and where she came from. The next thing I have is my dad's letter from when he was in high school in 1952. He just recently gave this to me as he's starting to feel his mortality and he's giving things away. He told me he wasn't a very good student, but he really liked sports and he really liked his friends. This is another thing my dad's recently given me. On the back it says Thanksgiving 1955. This was when he was in the Army, but unfortunately he hasn't started telling me those stories yet. This is a photograph of my mom and her 14 brothers and sisters. As you can imagine, with that big a family, she has a lot of stories to tell. We really enjoy getting together and listening to her family talk and tell the things they did when they were kids. But I can't tell those stories nearly as well as she can. The last thing I have in my basket today is my daughter's favorite stuffed animal, Sabbath. She's had Sabbath almost her whole life, and Sabbath went to college with her and recently came back. However, again, my daughter has left. She's moved back to Austin for her first great professional job, and she left Sabbath with me, which made me rather sad. I'm feeling a little better about it though, because she did call me a couple of days ago and say that maybe Sabbath needs to come to her place. Anyway, the story I have to tell you involves Sabbath and my daughter when she was 3 years old. It was one of those beautiful summer days that you wait for. Not too hot, not too much of a breeze, which is really saying something in Amarillo. A perfect day to get things done. So I decided I was going to do some major cleaning out. Unfortunately, Briley didn't see it that way. She wanted me to come play with her. She kept coming in the kitchen and saying, look at this toy and look at that toy and don't you want to come outside with me? But, bad mom that I was, I kept telling her no. Well, pretty soon I realized the house had gotten really quiet. I didn't hear any sounds coming from her bedroom. I didn't hear her playing with any toys. And so I decided I'd better go see what was going on. Well, I went in her room, glanced around, she wasn't there. So I went into the living room. She sometimes liked to play in there. She wasn't there. I went in the bathroom, looked for her there. Still no Briley. That only left my bedroom because I'd already been in the kitchen and she wasn't with me. Nothing. Well, then I decided maybe I'd better look under the beds. I looked under the beds. I looked under and over her bunk bed. I opened all the closet doors. No Briley. By this time I'm starting to get a little worried, and I decide, well, all the doors were locked, but maybe she got out somehow. I went and looked in the backyard. I looked in the front yard. I checked the garage. I checked the cars, but they were all locked. No Briley. Now I'm really beginning to panic. I know she really liked the next door neighbor, so I go to the next door neighbor's house, ask her if she's there. No, they haven't seen her. I figure one more try. I go back to the house. I look under the beds. I look in the closets. I look everywhere I can possibly think of that she might be. No Briley. Well, now I'm in full-blown panic mode. I decide there's nothing to do but call 911. I go get the phone. I start dialing the number. And I hear giggling. Lots of giggling. So I hang up the phone and I start searching again. Well, I'm pretty sure it's coming from Briley's room. I go back in. I look high and low. No Briley. I just can't imagine what's going on. And suddenly, from the top bunk of her bed that is covered with stuffed animals, she sits up and says, "Hi, Mommy!" Like nothing ever happened. Well, let me tell you, I learned a couple of things that day. Always say come out wherever you are, because a 3-year-old thinks every day is hide and seek. And never assume your child can't climb to the top of a bunk bed. Just because she hasn't done it in front of you doesn't mean she can't do it. Briley and I still laugh about the time I lost her in our house. And let me tell you one other thing about that day. All the stuffed animals on the top of that bunk bed found new homes. So that never happened to us again.